Hidden deep within classified archives, a banned interview with Stephen Hawking has surfaced, revealing a mathematical proof of the afterlife. This is not speculation, but a radical truth the scientific world tried to silence. What if Hawking cracked the code that proves consciousness never dies? Prepare to question everything you thought was real. Stephen Hawking is widely known as one of the most brilliant minds in modern physics. From his early work on black holes to his groundbreaking contributions in cosmology, Hawking transformed our understanding of the universe. His best-selling book, A Brief History of Time, brought the complex scientific ideas to the public, cementing his role as a towering figure of science and reason. For decades, Hawking was viewed as a staunch skeptic of anything beyond the material world, dismissive of metaphysical or spiritual explanations. Yet, beneath this public image lies a lesser-known story. Toward the latter part of his life, Hawking began to explore ideas that unsettled the scientific community. He started discussing consciousness in ways that defied conventional physics, hinting at concepts that touched on eternity and what many would call the afterlife. These were not casual remarks. Some close to him reveal he was deeply engaged with questions about the nature of existence beyond death. But unlike his published work, these ideas were never meant for mainstream consumption. The controversy surrounding these revelations is significant. In the fiercely rational world of modern science, claims that suggest consciousness could transcend physical death are often met with dismissal, labeled as pseudoscience or fantasy. Hawking's radical ideas challenged the very foundation of this materialistic worldview. The whispers around these theories grew louder, and with them came resistance from institutions invested in maintaining the boundaries of accepted knowledge. This brings us to the question of censorship. History is riddled with examples where groundbreaking or uncomfortable scientific truths were suppressed. Galileo was silenced for supporting heliocentrism. Nikola Tesla's innovations were buried under layers of secrecy and corporate interests. And in recent decades, whistleblowers from various scientific fields have revealed attempts to censor or discredit findings that threaten prevailing ideologies. In this context, the recently uncovered interview with Stephen Hawking takes on new meaning. It wasn't simply a private conversation, it was an exposé that questioned the finality of death and introduced a mathematical framework for understanding an eternal consciousness. But shortly after its recording, the interview vanished from all public archives. It was classified, restricted, and in some cases erased, its existence denied by official channels. Why? The reasons remain unclear, but the implications are profound. This hidden interview hints at a knowledge so disruptive that it was deemed too dangerous for the public eye. It challenges the very nature of reality as most people understand it. And this is just the beginning. As we peel back the layers of this banned interview, you'll discover not only Hawking's proof of the afterlife, but also a glimpse into a secret world of suppressed knowledge, ideas that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. So, what was it in that interview that made it vanish? What truths did Hawking reveal that threatened established power structures? And why is this knowledge only now seeing the light of day? These questions will guide us through the revelations ahead. But for now, keep this in mind. What you are about to hear challenges everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the universe itself. Now that we've uncovered how this forbidden conversation came to light, brace yourself as we dive deeper into Hawking's startling insights that challenge everything you thought you knew about life, death, and what lies beyond. the story begins with a shock to the scientific world. A leaked recording, unearthed from deep within classified government archives. This interview with Stephen Hawking, until now hidden from public eyes, was brought to light by an anonymous whistleblower who risked everything to expose the truth. For decades, the existence of this recording was dismissed as conspiracy until now. This is not just another old interview. It is exclusive knowledge, a rare glimpse behind the polished public image of Hawking the scientist. What makes this recording extraordinary is what Hawking reveals. Ideas so radical and unsettling they were scrubbed from official archives, the footage heavily redacted, and some sections erased entirely. The setting couldn't be more stark. Picture a sterile, cold room deep inside a secure facility. Walls bare, lighting harsh and unyielding. The sound of Hawking's voice contrasts sharply with this clinical environment. There is an unmistakable weight to his words, a quiet urgency that breaks through the sterile silence. It is as if the cold, impersonal walls cannot contain the profound nature of what is being discussed. What you hear here is a man grappling not with the equations of physics alone, but with something far deeper, a mathematical proof of the afterlife. Yet this isn't presented as speculation or theory. Hawking speaks with a calm certainty that unsettles the very foundations of material science. His voice, usually associated with abstract cosmological concepts, now carries an intimate reverence as he navigates this forbidden terrain. But the interview is fragmented. The recording abruptly cuts at times. Sections are missing. Black holes in the dialogue where the most explosive revelations would have been. Official explanations cite national security concerns and safeguarding public order. Yet those who have studied the leaked material say these redactions only deepen the mystery. What knowledge was deemed too dangerous for the world? This interview exposes a hidden conflict between the scientific establishment's need for control and the terrifying, liberating truths Hawking was willing to voice. It challenges the sanitized version of Hawking that mainstream media promotes. Here is a man caught between two worlds, the relentless rationalism he championed, and a spiritual reality most refused to acknowledge. Imagine for a moment the implications. A proof, coming from one of the greatest scientific minds, that consciousness extends beyond death, not as faith or hope, but as mathematics, precise, logical, undeniable. This is knowledge that threatens to overturn centuries of dogma. And yet, it has been buried, hidden, suppressed. What you are about to hear is a fragment of that lost knowledge, a shard of a secret long kept from the public. It is a glimpse through the veil that has been pulled tightly over our understanding of life and death. But this is only the beginning. Soon you will hear what Hawking revealed about the fabric of eternity itself, how mathematics opens a door to what lies beyond our physical existence. But for now, reflect on this. Why was this interview hidden? Who stands to lose if the truth is known? And how does it change everything you thought you understood about reality? Hold on to these questions. The revelations to come will alter the way you see yourself and the universe forever. Let's dive deeper into what this means for our understanding of reality and how it challenges everything we thought we knew about life and the universe. In this hidden interview, Stephen Hawking doesn't just speculate. He presents a rigorous mathematical framework that challenges the finality of death itself. At the core of his argument lies the idea that consciousness, much like energy or information, cannot simply vanish. It is preserved, transformed, and encoded within the fundamental laws of the universe. Hawking begins by exploring the concept of entropy, the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. In classical physics, entropy tends to increase, leading to decay and eventual heat death of the universe. Yet, when we shift focus to quantum mechanics, things take a startling turn. Here, information is never truly lost. It's woven into the fabric of space-time, conserved at the deepest levels. Imagine your consciousness as an entry in a cosmic ledger. Every thought, memory, and experience is written indelibly into the universe's grand record. This ledger is no ordinary book. It's quantum, dynamic, and eternal. Just as black holes were once thought to erase everything that fell into them, modern physics now suggests that information about what enters is preserved in ways we can barely comprehend. Hawking uses these principles to hint at a deeper truth. Your sense of self, your consciousness, cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. The boundaries between life and death blur when viewed through this cosmic lens. What seems like an end is, in fact, a transformation into another state of being. He describes the mathematical equations underpinning this theory, where information is conserved across dimensions and time. In his words, the universe operates like a vast quantum computer, processing information in patterns that transcend our limited perceptions of existence. This proof, while complex, opens an extraordinary possibility. Consciousness persists beyond physical death. It suggests that the essence of you is a quantum code encrypted in the cosmos, a code that never erases, only rewrites. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what if your consciousness never truly ends? What if death is not a final curtain, but a shift in the cosmic program, a reboot into a different form? This challenges every conventional belief about mortality and existence. Hawking's revelations push us beyond the familiar territories of science and philosophy, inviting us to consider a universe far richer, more mysterious, and far less finite than previously imagined. If your consciousness is written into the quantum fabric of reality, what does that say about the nature of your soul? About eternity itself? This isn't just a theory, but a mathematical proof cloaked in equations and encoded in the deepest laws of physics. But it carries profound spiritual implications, ones that mainstream science has been reluctant to confront openly. As you digest this, consider how your understanding of self and afterlife might change if this truth were widely accepted. How would it affect the way you live, love, and face the unknown? The cosmic ledger holds your story, preserved beyond the limits of time and space. But what else might be written there? Hidden messages waiting for those who dare to look deeper. Let's uncover how Hawking's black hole research shakes the foundations of what we believe about death. Stephen Hawking's name is forever linked to black holes, those mysterious cosmic abysses that swallow everything, even light. But what most people don't realize is how his groundbreaking work on black holes intersects with the very question of consciousness and the afterlife. For decades, the prevailing scientific belief was clear. Anything that falls into a black hole, including information, is lost forever. This idea supported the notion that death is an absolute end, that the unique details of a person's consciousness vanish without a trace. But Hawking challenged this with his discovery of what's now called Hawking radiation. Hawking radiation refers to the faint glow emitted by black holes as they slowly evaporate. But what makes this radiation so profound is what it implies about information. According to Hawking, the information swallowed by black holes isn't destroyed. It's somehow encoded in this radiation, preserved eternally in a form we barely understand. Imagine it like this. The universe keeps a cosmic ledger, meticulously recording every bit of information that ever existed, even that which seems to disappear behind the event horizon of a black hole. This ledger is immutable. No entry can ever be truly erased. If this cosmic ledger exists, what does it mean for you? It suggests that the details that make you you, your memories, experiences, the essence of your consciousness may not be lost at death. Instead, they could be eternally written into the fabric of the cosmos. This stands in stark contrast to the mainstream view, which sees death as a final erasure, a cold and absolute end. But Hawking's research hints at a universe where information is never truly lost, only transformed. A universe where consciousness might persist in ways science has barely begun to fathom. What if death, rather than an end, is a transformation? What if your essence is not annihilated, but encrypted, lingering in the cosmic code forever? These questions challenge everything we think we know about life, death, and the nature of reality itself. They force you to reconsider what it means to be alive, and what might lie beyond the veil of death. The full implications of Hawking's discoveries remain hidden, locked behind complex mathematics and theories still unfolding. And, intriguingly, some of the most revealing aspects of his research on this topic have been quietly removed or heavily redacted from public records. What secrets lie buried within these lost pages? What forbidden knowledge might rewrite our understanding of consciousness and eternity? You're standing at the edge of a profound awakening. Will you dare to look deeper? But behind the public persona of the unshakable scientist lies a hidden story, a deeply personal encounter that shook Stephen Hawking's worldview to its core. What he experienced next would blur the lines between science and the spiritual in ways no one expected. Despite his public image as a relentless skeptic, there are whispers of a deeply personal moment that transformed Hawking's understanding of consciousness and eternity. Close sources suggest he experienced a near-death or transcendent episode, an event so profound it challenged his lifelong allegiance to pure scientific rationalism. Imagine a sterile hospital room, the faint hum of machines monitoring life, while Hawking lay at the edge of consciousness. Suddenly, his awareness seemed to detach from his frail body and enter a realm unlike anything earthly, an endless expanse of shimmering light and profound silence. Time lost meaning. It was as if he had stepped through a veil separating the physical from the infinite. This experience, while never openly discussed, reportedly haunted him. Those closest noticed a subtle shift in his demeanor, a softness in his voice, a reverence in his words when speaking about life and death. The cold equations and strict laws of physics suddenly felt incomplete, as if there was a deeper truth beyond what any formula could capture. Inside, Hawking wrestled with a paradox: how to reconcile the spiritual revelations of that experience with the scientific rigor that defined his career. It was a secret tension between what he could prove and what he knew in his soul. What if the greatest mind of our time glimpsed the eternal and found science wasn't enough to explain it? Would your own beliefs withstand such a confrontation with the unknown? Now, as we uncover the hidden truths behind Hawking's proof, we must confront a darker reality: why so many powerful institutions fought to keep this knowledge buried. What forces pushed back against these revelations, and what did they fear would happen if the truth about consciousness and the afterlife came to light? Let's dive into the resistance that tried to silence these groundbreaking ideas. Even though Stephen Hawking's mathematical proof hints that consciousness might live on after death, many powerful institutions have fought hard to keep this truth hidden. The clash between this new idea and old established beliefs sparked quiet efforts to shut down, silence, or discredit any research pointing toward an afterlife. From the start, scientific communities, true defenders of skepticism and evidence, were cautious. Hawking's ideas, despite being based on solid math and physics, faced heavy criticism. Many scientists didn't want to consider the idea that consciousness could survive death because it challenges the foundations of neuroscience and physics they trusted. But it wasn't just scientists. Religious institutions with their own beliefs about life, death, and the soul also saw this as a threat. A mathematical proof of the afterlife could shake the core of traditional doctrines and their hold on these big questions. So, some religious groups worked quietly to dismiss or control the conversation, worried about losing their influence over these mysteries. At the government level, things got even more complicated. Intelligence agencies and political powers saw Hawking's research as dangerous. If consciousness truly survived death, what would that mean for controlling people? Would fear of dying fade, changing how society works? Could this knowledge shake the foundations of power? Because of this, there was a hidden campaign against these ideas. Funding for consciousness research was cut or shifted to military projects. Books and studies about afterlife theories disappeared or were banned. Scientists who showed interest in these topics risked their careers. Entire programs studying near-death experiences or quantum consciousness were shut down without explanation. Even more alarming, whistleblowers say there were covert operations to erase evidence. Important documents vanished, interview tapes disappeared, and key data was locked away as classified. The very interview where Hawking explained his proof of the afterlife is believed to have been hidden for decades because it was too dangerous. Think about what that means. The idea that consciousness might be eternal could change everything we know about life and existence. It suggests there's a cosmic record keeping track of every moment of our being. Not lost, but preserved in the universe's fabric. And yet, this truth has been deliberately covered up. This resistance reminds us that powerful forces work hard to keep us in the dark. But what if those walls are starting to crack? What if the hidden truth is slowly leaking out? What happens when the impossible becomes undeniable? Ask yourself, why is this truth so threatening? Who gains by keeping it hidden? And what happens inside you when you consider that consciousness might never really end? History shows us that every big awakening is met with fear and resistance, but light always finds a way. The real question is, are you ready to see it? As we move deeper into Hawking's astonishing discovery, it's time to explore what this means for us all. How the very essence of who we are, our memories, and even our understanding of time itself may be forever transformed. Get ready to see death, legacy, and purpose through a new, awakening lens that could lift the veil on humanity's greatest mysteries. Stephen Hawking's groundbreaking ideas don't just rewrite physics, they shake the very foundation of what it means to be human. When we start to consider that consciousness might not vanish at death, but instead persists eternally, everything we think we know about identity, memory and time begins to shift. Imagine this: your sense of self, your memories, your feelings, the essence of who you are, aren't just fleeting sparks snuffed out at the end of life. Instead, they are part of a vast cosmic ledger written into the fabric of the universe itself. This isn't just poetic, it's a mathematical possibility. It suggests that the story of you doesn't end with your last breath. It continues, transformed, carried in a form beyond physical decay or forgetting. This changes how we see death. No longer a full stop, death becomes more like a doorway, one that leads into an unknown but ongoing dimension of existence. The fear and finality we associate with dying start to soften. Instead, there's a sense that something deeper, something eternal waits beyond the veil. Think about legacy, not just in the traditional sense of what you leave behind for others, but as a personal continuation. Your consciousness, your experiences, your very essence might ripple through time far longer than you imagined. This reframes purpose. What if our lives matter not just here, but infinitely? What if the choices we make echo in an eternal quantum ledger, preserved forever? These ideas invite us to awaken from a long-held blindness. For centuries, we've lived under the assumption that life is a brief flicker, a random blip of matter and energy with no deeper meaning. Hawking's proof cracks that illusion wide open. The veil is lifting. The harsh boundaries between life and death, past and future, self and universe begin to blur. But awakening to this reality isn't just a scientific or philosophical exercise, it's deeply personal. It asks us to reconsider how we live, how we love, and how we find meaning. If consciousness transcends death, then compassion, connection, and understanding take on new weight. Our actions aren't just moments lost in time, but parts of an endless flow. This also challenges how we understand memory. Memories aren't just brain processes that disappear, they could be eternal imprints. The relationships we build, the kindness we offer, the pain we endure, all of it might be etched forever in the quantum fabric of existence. Time itself feels different through this lens. Instead of a linear march from birth to death, it becomes more fluid, cyclical, or even simultaneous. Past, present, and future intertwine. What was once distant and unreachable might actually be closer than we think, folded into the eternal tapestry of consciousness. Of course, these ideas can be overwhelming. They ask us to rethink everything we've been taught about the end of life and what lies beyond. They push against fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But they also open a door to hope, a hope rooted not in wishful thinking, but in rigorous mathematics and physics. As you sit with these thoughts, imagine the veil lifting from your own eyes. Imagine seeing life and death not as opposites, but as parts of a grander whole. Imagine waking up to a universe where your essence endures, where the question, "Who am I?" expands beyond your physical form, beyond even time itself. What would change in your life if you truly believed this? Would your fears fade? Would your purpose sharpen? Would you live differently, knowing that the story of you doesn't end but continues in some profound, unseen way? This is the gift and the challenge of Hawking's revelation. It invites us all to reconsider our place in the cosmos, to embrace a new understanding of existence that blends science with a profound sense of wonder. The veil is lifting. Are you ready to awaken? What we've uncovered so far is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind closed doors, more footage and documents remain locked away, waiting to challenge everything we think we know about consciousness. Stay with us, because when these hidden truths surface, we'll dive deeper than ever before. Despite everything we've uncovered so far, there's still so much we haven't seen. More recordings, documents, and pieces of this puzzle remain locked away, classified, missing, or deliberately hidden from the public eye. What secrets might those lost materials hold? Could they completely rewrite what we think we know about consciousness, life, and what comes after? It's hard not to wonder, if what we've already discovered shakes the foundations of science and belief, what truths are still buried deeper, waiting to emerge? The gaps in this story are real and they're vast. But here's the thing, we're just getting started. As more of these hidden materials come to light, we'll be ready to bring you the full picture. This isn't just about one man's discovery anymore, but about uncovering a reality so profound it could change everything we believe about existence. So, stay close. Because when the lost footage and secret documents finally surface, we'll dive back in together. And trust me, what's coming next could challenge everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the mysteries beyond. The truth is out there, but it's waiting for now. Now, let's turn inward and ask the question that changes everything. If Hawking's proof is true, how does it reshape your understanding of life, death, and what lies beyond? If what Stephen Hawking's ideas reveal is true, how does that change the way you see death? Think about it for a moment. All your life, death has been painted as the final curtain, the absolute end, a cold, dark silence. But what if that's just one side of the story? What if, instead of an ending, it's more like stepping through a veil, leaving behind shadows and entering into a light we've only glimpsed in fleeting moments? Imagine your current reality as a mirror, reflecting what you know, what you believe. But what if that mirror could turn into a window, opening onto something far greater than your senses can grasp? Hawking's mathematical proof suggests that consciousness, the very essence of who you are, isn't lost or erased. It might be written into the universe itself, preserved in a cosmic ledger beyond space and time. This challenges everything we assume about existence. It asks us to reconsider what it means to be alive, to be human. If consciousness survives, then memory, identity, even love, these are not confined to a single lifetime or a fleeting physical form. They ripple outward, eternal in ways science is only beginning to understand. So ask yourself, what truths have we been too afraid to face? What if the end you've feared is really a doorway? What if the fears and doubts that have held you back are just shadows, waiting for the light to push through? Are you ready to see beyond the shadows, to awaken to a reality where death is not an erasure, but a transformation? Hawking's ideas don't just offer scientific insight, they invite a profound shift in perspective, a call to rethink everything we thought we knew. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not just about the universe outside, but the universe within you. This interview was banned for a reason. What other truths remain hidden?